Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Makers Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer, and today with me, I have an amazing lady, Miss Ruth Wishengrad. I hope I said that correct, Ruth.
You did, you
Awesome.
did.
Very cool. All right. So Ruth has been coming to our community a few times now, and I like how she shows up in the world. I love her message, and I'm super excited to bring this to your attention. This is an important topic that parents should really pay attention to. I'm not going to steal her thunder. So, Ruth, welcome to the show. I'm really happy that you're here, and thank you, audience, for tuning in. Please tell our parents a little bit more about yourself and your topic, why it's important, and how you're related to this topic in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I've enjoyed coming to Family Role Model Maker, and and being part of the community because that's what it's all about, right? Being part of the community.
Absolutely.
And funny enough, Dr. L, people have actually called me. I've been called the empowerment whisperer
Awesome.
because it's all about drawing out that confidence and that empowerment in kids and us big kids that have that little kid inside that still, and that could be the reason that we're having those issues with other people because our inner kid is complaining.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So we got whispers in the house. So turn up the volume and listen carefully.
Exactly. Well, I'm on a mission to build a world of confident kids so that every kid and inner kid feels worthy, valued, and loved.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, here's the thing about confidence, and I know that you've been working in this, and it's a no-brainer. But in this day and age, with mental health issues and all the stuff that we see in schools, I often wonder, where did this start? And when I look back, because I'm an active parent right now, I've got young kids, and I look at it, and it's different than how I grew up. And it seems like when I was growing up, you were kind of left to your own devices to some degree to kind of figure things out. And now everything is kind of scheduled and packaged for the kids, and there's playtime, and then there is scheduled, playground time, and organized sports, and so on and so forth. So at no point do the kids play an active role in deciding about what they get to do. So tell us a little bit more about how you got involved in doing this, and what are you currently seeing as some of the challenges in the parenting community.
Okay, well, so a little backstory is I'm a former elementary school teacher, and I was in the classroom, and it's certainly understand the struggles that go on outside of the classroom because the parents would come to me and talk about it. The kids would be disheveled in the morning, or like routines and everything like that. And sometimes school was the easiest place because there
Right.
was a structure that
Yeah.
that needed to be followed. So how did I come about doing what I'm doing is, well, I had very low self-esteem when I was a child. I was bullied. I was picked on, and no wonder I had low self-esteem. I just couldn't, I didn't know any better, right? And so fast, years later, I had chronic pain, and I was depressed all the time. And this was because I became my own self-bully. I learned how to bully myself because that's what everyone else was doing, and that's how they related to me. And so therefore, well, that's how I'll relate to myself,
Mhm.
right? And
Right.
that only caused that. I believe now, all these years later, I can go, oh, well, that's why you had all that chronic pain. And that's why you were depressed all the time. And it got to a point that I didn't even want to live anymore.
Wow.
And it got pretty bad. I mean, I even admitted myself into a hospital because I didn't trust myself. And I'd hit rock bottom, and there's really nowhere else to go but up when you hit rock bottom. And I knew I didn't want to leave this earth. And that's why I admitted myself. And that's why I was like, okay, I gotta do something about it. And so I just started climbing. I didn't know where I was going. I just started climbing and ended up doing deep dives into personal development and saying, oh, there are ways, there are strategies, there are ways to like get yourself out of that cycle. And it really is this kind of crazy cycle that goes on in your head. And I've, I'm really the self-talk guru in a lot of ways, you know, to pull that empowerment out of you, but also to understand that it's your self-talk and your self-talk that matters. And I've created a program based on that because what it did was it actually helped me first. And my this thing just started to show up in through me, and it's called self-talk songs.
Wow.
And yeah, and it was my way as an adult even of finding a way to be playful, to be have it be fun. Simple, easy, and fun is what I say. And when it worked for me, I put on my teacher hat and I went, oh, you know, let's see if this will work for kids. I knew it would. And I also was a curriculum developer for many years. I worked for a publishing company in the Boston area. And so I put on my curriculum hat and I ended up creating this curriculum. And I can show you a copy of the curriculum.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
called Self-Talk Songs.
Cool.
And it's not one of your little 1 or 2 page things here. It's a pretty robust curriculum, uh, and it has a whole multimedia component to it, of course, because it's got the songs, it's got videos, and all of that. And I've correlated it. The curriculum hat that I put on, I correlated it to all the physical national physical education standards, as well as all the social and emotional learning core competencies.
Right.
So I think it's pretty popular these days to know about SEL, right? Social and emotional learning.
Yep.
That's kind of
So I was
correlate.
just going to say, I'm actually really loving this because from a neurologic perspective, I love how you're integrating. There's so many components there because many people, when they have a problem, immediately they want to look out, and you're starting from inside.
Mhm.
And you're not only starting from the inside, but you're also mentioning the fact that some of the stuff that's going on up here has actually physical and somatic implications within the body as well, that oftentimes we don't associate with, say, depression, that we don't associate with these mental faculties, basically. And that's a really important point for our parents to remember, that whatever happens up here, it ends up being reflected in your body and then from there out into the world as well. So what you see in your world, that's not actually its first manifestation. Its first manifestation.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And it's interesting that you say it that way because what happened was, so I created the curriculum, and then I started doing it in schools and all of this. But even before I started going into the schools, I went, you know, if this is working for me, yes, I want to get this out to other people. I want to, what's the word? I want to backtrack and find out, is there science that actually proves this?
mhm,
And that's when I went to the science, and you used the word neuroscience, and there are neuroscience principles
right.
that actually say that this does work and it does actually help change the brain.
Right. And a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, when I was working at the rehab centers, we
Mhm,
knew early on that when you when you kind of cross link different modalities,
mhm.
they become exponentially more effective in addressing the issue than any single one of them could on its own, basically. Or if you were to add each of them separately, one at a time, basically, when you mix them. So you're here talking about, for instance, music, and then there's this internal component of the positive messages, for instance, and that's like right there. There's two of them, and I'm sure
Right.
there's more.
And
So
there's one more that we can add to that. Actually, there's two more, but there's one more that we can add to that is the movement. So
right,
I use brain balancing movement
right,
while you're juicing up the energy and having fun, because that's another one, because
right.
you know, spirit loves fun, right? And kids love fun. And you know, we are spiritual beings. So it juices it up and it helps, you know, form those neural pathways to anchor it deeper into the body. And the last modality that I use is is called a meditative mantra. So
Awesome.
when I was teaching this in the schools and I was talking to these kids, and I said, well, you can always carry this around with you all the time. And kids, and they're like, yeah, but I'm not going to go around going, I am confident, and start singing and dancing. And I said, no, of course. If you're standing online in the supermarket, and somebody comes and approaches you, and you want to, when you're with your parents and they want to talk to you, but you're a little nervous, well, you could be singing something in your head.
Mhm. Yeah.
They don't know that you're singing the confidence song, because you need to talk to somebody and you don't want to be shy. You want to, show yourself for who you are. And you might need a little confidence, but you're not going to start breaking out in song and dance in the middle of the supermarket or in the church or, in the bank or something like that. But that's where I teach kids to bring it inside. And just like your heartbeat, it's always there.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love the fact that this is actually a curriculum and not just an idea. And I love the fact that you mentioned it early on, that a lot of people that have those feelings, eventually they lose hope.
Mhm.
And whereas you chose to rightfully admit yourself, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that story, there are other people who that's not even a consideration, or that's not even an option or a solution that even comes to their mind, let alone for them to consider and ponder and say, should I do this or not? So I want to make sure that our audience members know that there are ways to overcome whatever's going on inside, and that these solutions actually a lot of times don't necessarily have to end up with medications and hospitalizations and things like that. They could actually be fun, and they could happen early on rather than until we have kind of landed in the middle of all kinds of troubles, basically. So
Right.
very
So
cool.
do we have time for a little,
Oh,
a
for sure.
quick story?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so like you said, you, you don't want to wait until too long into your life. However, I had this friend of mine, she was 90 years old. Her name is Ginny, and she loved what I was doing. She and I would dance on the sidewalk and start singing and dancing in front of other people, because that was just her spirit. And when I had my CDs and my DVDs back then, it was a while ago. She was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And she bought, not only for kids, she bought all 100 DVDs for seniors. And I was like, okay, that's great, because, seniors need this,
Yeah.
feeling too. And I said, would you like to give a testimonial? Because she's been buying all these things, and she was like a cheerleader for me. And she goes, I don't have anything specific to tell you. I said, okay. So I invite you for 2 months, every day, turn on that DVD and sing and dance your heart out to it. And it's really only like 10 minutes. And she was like, okay, I can do that. 2 months and 2 days later, I got a text, not a phone call, a text from this 90-year-old friend of mine. She said, have I got a story for you, Ruth? Please meet me at the rehab. I fell and fractured my hip.
Oh no.
So she's telling me the story. She said, get your phone ready. Let's go. I want you to hear it from the beginning. And so she's telling me the story. And basically what happened is, in the middle of the night, she fell and she heard her hip crack. And she'd gotten up to go to the bathroom, didn't realize that she had stepped away from the bed. Boom. And she's like, okay. She was in excruciating pain, and she thought, I'm done. I'm 90 years old. I just saw the kids tonight, and I'm in excruciating pain. My phone is 6.5 feet away. It feels like 10 miles. I'm done. I had a good life. And then she heard in her head my voice singing one of the songs. And to the beat of the music, to the rhythm of my voice, she moved herself an inch. And then she stopped and rested and panted. And she'd had 11 children, so she knew what it was like to rest in between. And then it showed up again. Dr. L, inch by inch by inch, it took her 2 hours and she made it to that phone.
Wow.
Without a shadow of a doubt, it was like this clarity and a flow of energy. She was like, I know I'm making it to the phone. And she did.
Wow.
And 4 months later, not only was she walking again, she was driving her car again.
God, this lady.
So I'm going to say to you and to your audience, imagine if it could do that for her.
Right.
What would it do if we got this into the hands of kids at a young age? And even you as parents, at the age you are now, you have this resource. And at that age, they learn that pattern.
Right.
So when you are in a dire situation,
Right.
things show up.
Awesome.
And I bet you're wondering, what song was it that she was singing?
I am, but I have another question first.
Okay, go ahead.
The first question is that how do these people find their way to you? Meaning that what is the complaint or the concern that they have when they show up at your door or on your email?
Well, it's my kids feeling bullied, my kids feeling less than, and I don't know how to reach them. I don't know what to do to help them. Um, I had somebody else reach out to me saying, my daughter really wants to do something. She wants to create her own song because I
Mm,
know that you do stuff around songs, and she's nervous and she doesn't feel like she can do something on her own. And so this is boosting that.
got it. Yeah. Awesome. Now back to the thing that gave me goosebumps. What was the song?
Well, that actually ties in with what you just asked me, because the song was called I Am Confident.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think this should be like a mantra, or like instead of having morning things at school, like everybody should come in and start their day like that. But that's pretty
Well,
cool.
that's what I actually tell people. In fact, that's what the teachers. I just recently finished a certification program and there was a kindergarten teacher in the class, and she said, it's our morning routines in the morning. We start off the morning singing these songs, and the kids, she said, this is the funniest thing, and I loved it so much. She would send me videos throughout the day. She goes, the kids are doing flash mobs of your songs. I
Oh,
mean, literally, they're sitting at recess, and one of them will be talking to the other, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the whole group at recess will be at the table or whatever, they'll all bust out singing one of your songs. And she said, it's not like they're trying to do this because of anybody watching or anything like that, but one person will say something that kind of triggers probably one of the lyrics in the songs, because um, they're everyday common language.
right.
So, some of the songs are confidence, I can do it, I
Right.
got this,
And
those
it's
kinds of.
intuitive, so kids are intuitive, so it kind of like comes naturally to them. That's really cool. All right, so let's actually talk about this. What would be a tip or a suggestion or a song that you would have for our parents and audience members that are listening now that they could implement so that it could make an impact in their lives and what they're experiencing?
Okay. Well, I think one of the easiest songs to kind of get caught in your head. Okay, let me just step back a second. Dr. L, have you ever gotten a song stuck in your head?
Yep.
What if the song you got stuck in your head not only helped you, it helped everybody around you?
Right? I know. Why can't we have why are we having country songs stuck in our heads?
Well, so I'm going to just back up just a little bit and tell you that this used to happen to me. I would wake up in the middle of the night singing songs and couldn't even remember all the lyrics, and it would keep me up at night. And I finally was like, okay, write down the lyric, Ruth, because if you don't write down the lyric, you're going to be up all night trying to remember it.
Okay.
So I'd write down the lyric, and I'd wake up in the morning, and I'd have to Google the lyric, or I'd have to find it somewhere, and 9 times out of 10 it was something I needed to hear. And when I acknowledged it, everything felt so much better, and it became actually my soundtrack. People said that's my playlist. It became these songs that were supporting me in my journey.
All right.
So uh, the song that a lot of people get stuck in their head is "I Can Do It." So it's it's and I'll just sing a little part of it if that's okay with you.
Sure, absolutely.
So so it's I can do it, yes I can do it. I think I can, I know I can. I can do it, yes I can do it. I know I can, I really can.
I love it. All right. So guys, you need to take that and just put it on repeat.
Put it on repeat.
Awesome. Very cool. This is
Exactly.
fun stuff, Ruth. I know that our time is short, so can you tell our audience members a little bit more about how they can get such golden nuggets and connect with you and find out more about getting the kids into this spirit? Because that is that's what we want to see in the family. That's we want to see
Exactly.
the smile, we want to see the confidence, we want to see people problem solving, we want to see people being able to dream, and these kind of things are gem. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I just have one quick story before I tell you where you can find it. And that is I had a parent actually come to me and she said, "Ruth, you've got to hear this story." My child said to me, "I can't." One time, and we'd been singing these songs all together and they knew the songs, and my child says, "Yeah, I just can't." And I, as the parent, just started singing, "You can do it, yes you can do it, I think you can, I know you can." And they started laughing and it just diffused all the energy, and there it went. A
So,
couple weeks later she said, "Wait till you hear this one, Ruth. I was struggling with something and I said to my kid, 'No, I can't.' And my kid started singing to me."
nice, cool.
So it became that common language. Anyway, the way you can find me is Self Talk Songs with an S, SELFTALKSONGS.com. And you could email me at ruth@selftalksongs.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let me just pause for a moment, let the audience members know. I'm going to put a lot more information that Ruth has provided for me in the description for you guys so you can connect with her in many different ways. So please go to the description box of this recording and make sure that you click on those links and connect. Also, remember that we want to role model the behavior, that we don't have all the answers, that it's okay to ask for help. That the answers are out there and we don't necessarily have to figure out and do all the heavy lifting ourselves. So doing that for yourselves and showing that to the kids is really important. So I highly encourage you guys to connect with Ruth and the community and the experts that we have that show up on this channel, and then share that message and the gems that come out of these interviews with your kids as well. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you click subscribe so you get notified of all the experts that show up as well. Ruth, before we finish, this was a very delightful, lighthearted, and fun session. And that's actually a hallmark of health. Oftentimes when you go to mental health facilities or you speak to someone who's suffering from mental health issues, you see the seriousness. You see that they take themselves very seriously. Whatever happens, they take very seriously, and they don't laugh and they don't smile and they don't have that lightheartedness. So I'm really glad that you actually brought that to our channel and had that during this entire interview. And I hope that all of our parents feel that lightheartedness in their families. And if you don't, this is the perfect opportunity to connect with Ruth and bring it in to your family and to your house and go from there. Any final words, Ruth, before we finish?
Well, make play your serious fun.
I like that. Very cool. Awesome. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate everything. Thank you, Ruth. We're going to do
Thank
a
you
lot
so
more
much. This was a
collaborations
lot of fun.
together. So guys, connect and we'll see you guys on a future episode. Cheers.
Thank you.